meeting, how did the class go yesterday for everybody? If you could just type that in, maybe an experience that you had or something that you noticed change. If you could just let us know, the feedback that you give us helps us to improve the way that we do these meetings. So please continually give us feedback so that we can make these meetings better and better every single day. So what we're going to do today is we're going to build on what we did yesterday. Yesterday, we started off with stage 1 and really got our the two halves of our brain working together. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about stage 2. Now, stage 1 is really being stuck in being helpless and suffering, knowing that there's something wrong, but not really being able to identify even what it might be, or what could be. Okay, stage 2 is a little bit more energy than stage 1. In stage 2, we're still very, very aware that something's wrong. But in stage 2, we're really focused on the circumstances. In stage 1, it's just the pain. It's just the suffering. That's all that we can experience. In stage 2, it's much more about the circumstances. Yes, there is this problem, and I know somewhere out there, there is a cause or a rhyme or a reason for this problem. So now we're able to pay attention to two different things, the problem and the perception that something is causing that problem. So stage 2 is all about the rhythms, the polarities, the ebbs and the flow of life. Really, it's about the seeming opposites. It's about the this or the that. Okay, we have a this, which is a problem, and it needs to be caused by that. And if it's caused by that, then obviously the solution has to do with that out there. So it's very much this black and white type of thinking. It's very much this black and white type of viewing. This is the stage of being triggered. If there's a suffering, there's a pain that we're experiencing, and there's a cause, well, anytime that cause, or anytime that we're reminded of that cause, for whatever reason, maybe it's not even directly connected, but anytime that cause gets triggered inside of our brain, we get reminded that we are suffering. And in stage 2, because we're focused on the circumstances, we will naturally go out and attack and try to tear down and try to get at that cause, whether it's a politician, whether it's a family member, whether it's a circumstance or a scenario in life. It's this thing that needs to stop. All right. And stage 2 is a lot more energy than stage 1. However, because we're focused on a thing out there, because we're so focused on just making it stop, there's actually not enough energy to really make a change. So the key to stage 2, just like in stage 1, is all about just being and acknowledging where you are and what's going on. How much division is there in you? How much of the different parts and different pieces of you are working in seeming opposition to each other? How much of you and the sense of you that you have is seeming to be in opposition to what's going on around you and the circumstances and the people around you, creating this polarity, creating this push-pull dynamic that we have going on inside of us? So stage 2 is about being with the fact that we are in opposition with ourselves, with our environment, with circumstances, and just owning that. We have to own it before we're really going to be able to do anything with it, much less do anything about it. Okay? So in stage 2, we need to recognize that whatever it is that we try to move away from, we will actually end up moving into more. The more we try to move away, the more of a polarity that we end up creating inside of our lives, the more opposition or seeming opposites that we create, okay? Because of the nature of our consciousness, whatever we focus on, whatever we put our intention upon, when we put our energy and our mind onto, we are energizing. We are giving it fuel. We are giving it potential. We are giving it energy. So whatever we focus on, whether it's paying attention to or whether it's giving attention by trying to move away from, whatever that is, we will get more of. So if we want more disease, if we want more cancer, the best thing to do is to create a war on cancer. If we want more poverty, the best thing to do is to create the war on poverty. Whatever we focus on expands, and whatever we resist persists. So there's a big difference between focusing on disease, to be focusing on sickness, versus focusing on health, versus focusing on functionality. There's a big difference between focusing on the conflict in our family versus focusing on the harmony and the love and the interconnectedness. There's a big difference between focusing on abundance and focusing on the seeming lack thereof and trying to get more and gain more. Okay, these are two diametrically opposing ways of being, and they have two diametrically opposing outcomes. One will move you towards what you want, which is focusing on what you want more of. The other seems to be focused on moving you away from what you don't want. But remember, if this is what you don't want here, and this is what you do want here, you can move in all of these different directions away from what you don't want. But there's only one direction towards what you do want, and that one direction will automatically move you away from what you don't want. So the key here is to own and recognize, when are we in polarity? When are we stuck in these seeming opposites? And the first thing to do is just stop. Just pay attention. Just acknowledge, ooh, right now I am triggered. Right now I see this thing or this person as the bad guy, as the bad thing that's trying to come out and get me. Right now, I just need to own where I am. Just like we said yesterday, if we don't own where we are, if we don't know our starting point on the map, there's no way to plot a course to where we want to be. Okay, so in stage 2, what we're going to do is we're going to go through, just like we did yesterday, stage 1, and we're going to identify through our breath, through our movement, through the flow of energy, which one of these 3 spots, breathing in the nose, out the mouth, right up underneath these hands, which one of these 3 spots is the most at peace, the most calm, the one that we can drop into, relax into, exhale into, let go of the flow the most? And which one of these 3 spots seems to be the most resistive to letting go, the most vigilant, the most tense, the one where we have the most trouble fully exhaling or fully relaxing or fully dropping into? So breathing in the nose and out the mouth, starting at the very top. Dropping all the way in the exhale, feeling for that place of peace and ease and total surrender. Now moving on to the second spot, right over the solar plexus. In the nose, out the mouth, fully letting go. Dropping in with the exhale to that place of peace and ease, that place of surrender. Now moving directly over the belly button. All the way in and all the way out. Letting go, dropping in, tuning into that place of peace and ease and surrender and home. Moving back up to the top, one breath, fully all the way in, one movement, fully all the way in, one flow, letting go all the way out, dropping in all the way deep, letting it flow all the way. Now moving to the solar plexus, all the way in, all the way out, dropping in, letting go. Now over the belly button, all the way in, fully all the way letting go, all the way relaxing, all the way surrendering to the flow. Now, of those three places, keep playing around if you haven't found it yet. Which one is the easiest to drop into? Which one's the most peaceful, the most relaxing, the easiest one to flow with? And which one is the one that's the most struggle? And it may not be the most struggle because it's uncomfortable. It may be painful. It may be obviously a challenge, but it also may be the one that you're just not sure of, the one that you zone out with, the one where your thoughts just go to every place except being with your body. Which one of these three spots is your favorite, most home, most connected, most peaceful, most at ease, most relaxed? And which one seems to be the most challenging? Okay, put one hand on your favorite place, the one that's the most easy, the most relaxing, the one you can drop into the most, and put the other hand right where your palm is over these two spots, right on the spot that's the most challenging. So from yesterday, this would be spot number 1 and spot number 3. Breathe into spot number 1 and let go. Drop in, surrender, relax, let flow. Breathe into spot number 2, spot number 3. Only spot number 3 and let go. Drop in, relax. Go back to spot number 1. Make sure that the breath, the movement, and the energy is specifically focused underneath the hand of spot number 1, letting go. And now back to spot number 3. All the way in, feeling the boundaries and borders, all the way out, feeling how much you can drop in. Go back and forth. One full inhale and one complete exhale into spot number 1, and then immediately switch back to spot number 2. All the way in and all the way out. Feeling the difference. Feeling the seeming contrast, feeling yourself, the different parts of yourself, and how they respond. All the way in and all the way out. What's working for you right now as you go back and forth? Is it the breath that you're able to really be with and let go the most? Is it the movement, the expansion or contraction? Is it the flow of energy with the inhale moving down the front of the body, wrapping around the groin and the pelvis? Exhaling, letting go of the spine out to the top of your head. Feel that flow of energy. Feel the breath. Feel the movement. Which one of those is the most effortless in experiencing just the letting go, just the surrender, just the peace, just the ease? All the way in and all the way out. Now I want you to imagine that spot number 1 is expanding or flowing into spot number 3. So as we inhale into spot number 1, We feel it growing and expanding and then letting go, let go, let go, let go. And as we breathe into spot number 3, experiencing spot number 3, receiving that and being filled up and moving close, becoming more and more similar to spot number 1, back and forth. Spot number 1, spot number 3, spot number 1, spot number 3. Now feel the difference in spot number 1 compared to spot number 3. Is spot number 1 more open? Is it more at ease? Is it more relaxed? Is it more energized? Is it stronger? Is it more powerful? Is it more present? Is it fuller? Is it happier? Whatever it is, I want you to give a name to the sensation that makes you choose spot number 1 as your favorite. Now, spot number 3. What's different about spot number 3? Is it more closed off? Is it more numb? Is it weaker? Is it smaller? Is it more contracted? Is it tighter? Is it harder to feel? Is it scared? Is it sad? Is it lonely? Give a name to this sensation that makes spot number 3 the most challenging spot to be with, the most uncomfortable spot to be with. Whatever it is, whatever that sensation is, just give it a name. It's not about the right name. It's not about the wrong name. It's just identifying and giving name to what is, giving name to that contrast. Back to spot number 1, feeling it. Back to spot number 2, 3, feeling it. Now, when we breathe into spot number 1 the next time, I want you to say, I have different parts. Go for it. And then breathing into spot number 3, say, I have many different rhythms. Go for it. Spot number 1, some of these parts I like. All the way in, letting go, letting go. Spot number 3, some of these parts I freaking hate. All the way in and all the way out. Some of these parts I love. All the way in and all the way out. Some of these parts suck. All the way into spot number 3, all the way out. But all of these are my parts. Breathe into both spots simultaneously. And repeat that again. But all of these are my parts. Breathing into both spots simultaneously. Feel them filling up together as one. Isn't it insane that we need to be whole, but we can't be whole if we don't have all of our parts? And there's so many times in life in which we break ourselves down from being whole just because we don't like certain parts. How crazy is that? Laugh out loud right now, even if you have to fake it. Laugh at how ironic it is that we need all of our parts, and some of them we spend a lot of time rejecting. How nuts is that? How crazy as beings are we that we break ourselves down and prevent ourselves from being whole just because we judge certain parts of ourselves? But those parts are all necessary and all needed. Okay? What other opposites are happening in your life? Keep breathing into spot number 1 and out of spot number 1, and then into spot number 3 and out of spot number 3. And just pay attention, what other areas of your life do seeming opposites play a big role? And maybe they're not opposites within you, maybe they're opposites between you and the outside world. Is your belief system seem to be totally opposite of what's going on in the world around you? Is your way of life seem to be totally opposite of what's going on? Do your desires, do your wants, does the unique expression of who you think you are right now seem to be in total opposition to what the world expects and wants and needs? Just pay attention to all of the opposites that seem to pop into your mind right now while you're breathing into spot number 1 and then surrendering and letting go of spot number 1. Into spot number 3 and letting go of spot number 3. Now, I want you to imagine that underneath spot number 1 is baby you, the innocent child version of you, that part of you that came into this world just ready to experience life, ready to have an adventure, ready to take in all that life has to offer, ready to fully love everyone and everything around you, ready to fully be loved by everyone and everyone around you. I want you to imagine spot number 1 up underneath is your inner child. And then up underneath spot number 3, I want you to imagine either a person, a thing, or a situation that you feel caused you pain at some point in your life, that you feel created a wound that somehow now you're still reacting or responding to and is changing the way that you would go about life if you did not have that experience. Okay. And it doesn't matter who that person is. It could be a family member. It could be a friend. It could be a politician. It can be a different version of you, an older version of you, maybe. Okay. It can be a scenario, a circumstance. You stepped on a piece of wood and it had a nail in it. You can imagine that nail. It doesn't really matter. But I want you in spot number 1 to envision innocent inner child you, and spot number 3, envision whatever or whoever you feel caused a pain or a wound. Breathing in to innocent child version of you and out, letting go. Breathing in to whoever or whatever caused the wound. Breathing out, letting go. Now with the next inhale into spot number 1, I want you to imagine that inner child picking up a big scoop, a big handful of whatever type of food that whenever you were a child was your absolute favorite. That dish, that type of food that you could have eaten all day, every day, and never gotten tired of. Was it ice cream? Was it candy? Was it peanut butter and jelly sandwiches? Was it macaroni and cheese? Was it tortilla soup? Whatever it is, I want you to imagine taking a big scoop or handful with the inhale, and with the exhale, I want you to imagine throwing it right into the face of spot number 3, whoever or whatever caused you pain. And spot number 3 just starts to laugh. And as we inhale into spot number 3 takes a big scoop or handful and throws it right back into the face of our inner child. And now every breath on the inhale, we're grabbing and scooping, and every breath on the exhale, we're throwing that favorite food back and forth, creating a massive food fight. And everyone is laughing. All of the resources are so abundant. They're so shared amongst the different parts of ourselves, the different experiences that we have in our life. And food is everywhere. And we're having a great time back and forth. And we're starting to notice that that wound, because of the change that it created in our life, it created opportunities to make progress and growth in certain areas that we would not have been able to make without it. So even though that's a wound, that's an experience that we would never want to repeat, it's an opportunity. It's a resource. It's a fuel that moves us farther down the path of growth. That's the gift that we were given in this experience. Now breathe into both spots simultaneously. Fill them up and let go, and let go, and let go, and drop in, and drop in, and fill them up all the way. Breath, energy, movement, and let go, let go, let go, all the way. Breathing into spot number 1, we're going to repeat, I have different parts. Go for it. Breathing into spot number 3, we're going to repeat, I have different rhythms. Go for it. Breathing into spot number 1, we're going to say this part feels or is, and then fill in the blank with whatever way you describe spot number 1, the reason why it was your favorite. All the way in and all the way out. And then move to spot number 3, and we're going to describe this. This part is or feels, and then you describe it in whatever opposite way, whatever it was that made it feel like it was your least favorite. Breathing into spot number 1, this part is or feels, fill in the blank. Breathing into spot number 3, all the way in, this spot feels or is, fill in the blank. Back and forth, back and forth. Now breathe into both spots simultaneously. Fill them both up like they're sharing the fuel, sharing the energy, sharing that favorite meal. And right now, I want you to tune into spot number 3. Tune into that wounded part of you. And I want you to ask it to speak up. Ask it out loud. Say, speak up. If you had a childhood nickname, add that in. Say, speak up. Mine was Tadpole. Speak up, Tadpole. Tell me what it is that you need. Tell me what it is that you were denied. Tell me what it is that created this wound or this trauma. All the way in. If you have a language that you were born in other than English, use that language now. All the way in, all the way out. Breathe into both spots simultaneously. Fill them both up. Feel the connection between those areas. And repeat after me. All my parts can speak to each other. Breathe in, breathe out. All of my different parts. Breathe in, breathe out. All of my different rhythms. Breathe in, breathe out. Make me up. Breathe in and breathe out. All of my parts and all of my rhythms are welcome. Breathe in, breathe out. My parts and rhythms don't have to get along. Breathe in, breathe out. My parts and rhythms don't have to like each other. Breathe in, breathe out. I don't have to like all my parts and rhythms. Breathe in, breathe out. But all these parts are me. And laugh out loud, even if you have to fake it. Ah, ha, 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 ha. Really get going in how crazy it is that we like to divide ourselves up and think that we're going to be better off and more whole on the other side. All the way in and all the way out, and just relax. Let go. Let the arms drop by the side. Let the body relax. Let the body breathe for you. All the way in and all the way out. Just feeling the space around your body. Just feeling the air and the space in the room that surrounds you. Feeling the space inside your body. What's different now? What's different about the space around you? What's different about the space within you? What's different about the way that your body breathes, your body moves, the flow of energy? All we're going for is different. Different is neither good nor bad, it just is. So when you've identified a difference, no matter what it is, no matter how subtle, go ahead and come back into your body. Move your fingers, move your toes, move your knees, move your arms, move your shoulders, move your hips. Move around, come back in, sit back up. Start focusing on the screen again. Now, as I go through this next section, if you wouldn't mind, do me a favor, and just in the chat, go ahead and type in if you had an experience or not. If you noticed that something was different in the beginning or end, you can say what that difference was, you can just type in difference. You can just type in yes. You can just type in no. You can just type in, Tad, I think you're a little bit crazy. This is weird stuff. Whatever you want to. Just kind of give us some feedback so that we can continue to expand and improve this process. And while you're doing that, we're going to go into another quick exercise. So as we create these polarities within ourselves, as we create and we focus on these seeming opposites about ourselves and the environment around us, as we create this division between the circumstances that we like and want and the circumstances that we don't like and we don't want, that causes us to use our energy in a very defensive way. It causes us to create these boundaries and these borders and to hold things in a way that, as weird as it sounds, there's a part of us that thinks it can prevent change. There's a part of us that thinks it can make things the way that they've always been, keep things comfortable, keep things nice, keep us from growing and experiencing, because growth and experience require the full spectrum of the human experience. So in being able to move forward, we're going to have to embrace some of these seeming uncomfortable aspects of life. But when we create division, we're using our energy to hold, to bind, to stay tight, to stay rigid, to stay defensive. Now, when we recognize this, when we let go, in whichever way that we feel is beneficial, whether it's through yoga, whether it's through meditation, whether it's through prayer, whether it's through breathing exercises, whether it's through SRI, whatever it is, when we let go of that tension, it allows the different parts of our body to not only communicate, but to share resources, to share energy between the different parts of ourselves. In acupuncture, this is called the meridian system. This is the flow or the channel of potential within our body to go through and enact change. And each one of these different meridians can be related to a lot of different things. And if you go to a really good acupuncturist, they'll be able to tell you which part of you is stuck, which part of you is either taking too many resources or which part of you is under-resourced. And that's what's keeping you in an uncomfortable place. That's what's keeping you or preventing you from being able to change. And here's the funny thing about our body. When our body is flowing, whenever our mind and body are connected, whenever everything is working well together, we don't notice it. We are so into whatever other experience there is to have. It's only when a certain part of our body is not able to function correctly that we start to pay attention to it. This is what most people call symptoms or sickness or diseases, is whenever our body is screaming at us saying there's too little change, there's not enough flexibility, there's not enough function, there's not enough sharing of resources between the different parts, and now a part of us is stuck. Whenever everything is flowing, we're totally in the moment, and we are totally and completely unaware of our body. So there's two different ways of going about this. One way would be to go to an acupuncturist and really identify which part is really stuck. All right. And that is a very, very efficient way, especially if we're really low energy, if we've got so much defensiveness going on that we're so overwhelmed and we're not really sure what's going on and we just can't feel like we can't figure it out. That's the time to acknowledge that we need help. That's the time to open up, do some stage one and say, right now I'm helpless. Right now I can't figure this out. I'm going to go receive. All right. But when we have more energy, what we can do is just focus on getting all the meridians flowing, getting all the meridians opened up. If we can do that, then we don't have to worry about picking out and identifying which ones are good, which ones are bad. We can rise above that polarity. So what I would recommend is when we notice that we're polarized, when we're noticed that we're triggered, when we notice that there's certain parts of us that we're judging or labeling, there's certain scenarios or circumstances that we're trying to get away from, like the coronavirus, that we just stop in that moment. We do something to reconnect with ourselves. Stage 2 SRI is a great way to do this, but there's other ways. And so I'm going to show you one more way right now. So everyone have a seat. Okay, I'm going to move this back a little bit. Have a seat. Whoops. Okay. Uh-oh. All right. Sorry, I just pulled out my internet plug. So have a seat so that you are sitting straight at the very edge of your chair with your knees bent, okay, about 90 degrees. What you're going to do is you're going to take your right leg and you're going to put your ankle across the very top of the left knee. You're going to take your right hand and you're going to put it over your ankle. You're going to take, you're going to put your right hand on your foot. You're going to take your left hand and put it on your ankle, just like this, so that they're crossing each other. Okay, you're going to take a big deep breath in the nose and out the mouth, and we're going to do this 9 times. So breathe all the way in and all the way out. As you're breathing in, pull that leg up a little bit and breathing all the way out. Breathing all the way in and all the way out. Breathing all the way in, 4. Breathing all the way out, 5. Breathing all the way in, 6. Breathing all the way out. Breathing all the way in, 7. Breathing all the way out. Breathing all the way in, 8. Breathing all the way out. Breathing all the way in, fully, 9. Breathing all the way out. And let go. Again, opposite. Take your left leg, put your ankle on the knee, your right knee. Take your right hand. You know what? And I made a mistake on the first one. We're going to do this one a little bit differently, and this is the actual way to do it. So take your right hand and put it on the ankle of your left leg, and take the left hand and put it on the heel. So you're going to wrap your hand around the heel. This is the way it's supposed to be, not necessarily the foot, the heel. Okay, so again, your arms are crossed. This is my right hand on my left ankle. This is my left hand on my left heel. And same thing, breathe all the way in, pulling back and up with the leg, out the mouth, all the way out. All the way in, all the way out, 2. All the way in, all the way out, 3. All the way in, all the way out, 4. All the way in, all the way out, 5. All the way in, all the way out, 6. All the way in, all the way out, 7. All the way in, all the way out, 8. All the way in, all the way out, 9. And relax. Shake the hands off a little bit. Shake the feet off a little bit. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put our hands in the prayer position, but we're going to have our thumbs pointed back, and we're going to put our thumb right at our heart, and this time we're going to breathe in the nose and out the nose. Breathe all the way into the heart and the hands. Breathe all the way out. 1. All the way into the heart. All the way out. 2. All the way into the hands and heart. All the way out. 3. All the way in. All the way out. 4. All the way in. All the way out. 5. All the way in. All the way out. 6. All the way in. All the way out. 7. all the way in, all the way out. 8, all the way in the nose, all the way out the nose. 9. Now we're going to put it right in between our eyebrows at the forehead. Breathe all the way into the forehead and all the way out the nose. 1, all the way in the nose, all the way out the nose. 2, all the way in the nose, all the way out the nose. 3, all the way in the nose, all the way out the nose. 4, all the way in the nose, all the way out the nose. 5, all the way in the nose, all the way out the nose. 6, all the way in the nose, all the way out the nose. 7, all the way in the nose, all the way out the nose. 8, one more, all the way in the nose, all the way out the nose. 9. Now take the tips of the fingers, put them right in between the eyebrows, and pull back on the scalp and on the forehead past the ears, and then shake it off. Go up a little bit higher on the head and pull out. This is not the best for the hairdo. And let it all the way out. But trust me, having all your energy flowing down the meridians correctly, back a little bit farther, is way more important than how you look. As a matter of fact, it actually make you look a lot more attractive, a lot healthier you are, even if your hair is all messed up. All the way in the back of the head to the ears, and then let it down. And then the back of the neck, the upper portion of the back of the neck, and shake it all out. Shake the arms out, shake the legs out, just relax. Now again, tune into the space around you. Tune into the space inside of you. What do you notice? What's different? Just experiencing. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to pull everyone up over here. And I'm going to ask that everyone either share, and you're going to have to unmute yourself to do this, and we can take turns. Share an experience that you had, or ask a question. What more would you like to learn? What kind of questions do you have about what you've learned so far? Anybody? And Connie, if you could come on and kind of go through the chat and let me know if there's anything that I would benefit to address directly.
Oh, hello, hello.
Hey, Connie.
All right. I don't see anything new from anyone, but a lot of people had stuff to say after the SRI experience.
Good. Good.
Connie?
Yeah.
I think this this whole exercise or experience today was really, really valuable because it put pieces in place for the SRI technique that I didn't have before. I have a better understanding, and maybe that's the wrong concept. I have a better sense of what we're supposed to accomplish with it, and that was huge for me. And it made the whole experience much more effective. It was great. I want the audio tape.
I am recording everything, so my goal is to get all of that up at some point.
I need to have that. I will hunt you down like a dog until I.
Yeah, and we'll be doing more of these in the future. But thank you very much for that feedback, Carlin. That's awesome. That will definitely keep going in that direction and make it a lot more practical and a lot more experiential in this. And Amory,
yeah.
Could I talk to you about one of the comments that you made? Is that okay?
Yes, absolutely.
You said after the last one yesterday, you had some interesting emotions come up.
Yes.
what was your experience of that? And you only need to give us as much detail as you're comfortable with. But whenever those emotions, whenever you said emotions came up, what was your experience around that? And how did that go as they came up?
Well, I'm really good at pushing away what I don't want to deal with.
Me too.
Me three.
So, in the essence of the practice, that some things came up that I've been pushing away. A lot of stuff around loneliness, which I was aware of, but it just, man, that root is just deeper and deeper and deeper.
Yes.
Than I want to realize. But I was able to just be with it and not judge it, not try to push it away. I was able to just kind of allow it. And it just felt really different. It was almost like my loneliness was a friend rather than like feeling like it was keeping me away from people. I don't know, it's different.
It sounds like you were able to kind of see it more from an objective standpoint rather than it being wrapped up in you.
Yes.
Very, very good. And just out of curiosity, about how long did that last before you noticed it starting to change into something else, or you're noticing your focus going somewhere else?
Oh, almost immediately.
Yes.
Yeah, it was almost immediate. Because when I felt it, instead of distracting myself or doing something else to kind of stave it off, I just let it.
Yes.
And it immediately was different.
And that's really why I wanted to bring this up, because this concept that we have of being triggered and having these emotions that come up that we want to push down, the reason that we want to push them down or move them away is because there's a fear that if we really acknowledge them and are with them, then it's going to be like that forever.
Right.
And the key to emotions to understand is that emotions are chemical reactions, and those chemical reactions only have a specific lifespan. And that lifespan is measured in a matter of seconds to minutes. So any emotion that we fully and completely can just be with and sit with physically can only last at most a matter of minutes. Now, what happens is we will many times take that emotion experience and we'll conceptualize it. We'll build a story around it. We will build concepts and thoughts around it. And now that thought and concept and story will end up recycling the emotions and bringing them up again and again and again and again. So what we typically use to not feel ends up being the thing that keeps those feelings going and brings about that scenario or that circumstance that we're terrified of, which is, I'm always going to feel this way. And it's just like this, wow, amazing thing, amazingly crazy and ironic thing that we do to ourselves.
It is silly.
Yes. And recreate those emotions, recreate that chemistry, because we're at a certain point, we stop being with the feeling and we bring it all into the mind. We start conceptualizing it. And many times, if I had to choose in the moment whether I was going to experience the thought of loneliness or whether I was going to experience the feeling of loneliness, hey, I'll take the thought all day long.
Right? Yeah.
In order to move through that, it's really about being with the feeling for long enough for our brain to get the information that's encoded in that chemical reaction so that we can make changes in the future and we can learn and grow from those experiences and those feelings. So all emotions, all feelings, they are the fuel and the information for change. But in order to be able to enact the right change, we have to be able to process that fuel, that information correctly, and then use the fuel correctly. And the more we use our fuel to suppress and repress and run away and resist, the less fuel that we have to make those changes. And that's what ends up getting us stuck and spinning our wheels going nowhere. So, Emery, thank you so much for sharing that. I think that is a super, super important aspect of the human existence to really own right now with all these crazy times where we have all this stuff that we're afraid is attacking us. So thank you so much for sharing that. That was super
Absolutely. Thank you.
Does anybody else have any questions? Does anybody else have any feedback? Does anybody else have anything in particular that they want me to cover specifically in these upcoming meetings or groups? You can unmute yourself and say it, or you can write it down.
Honey.
Yes. Nothing? Nobody? All right.
So I do have another question if nobody else does. I got a wave of nausea again.
Yes.
After we did the pulling on the head thing.
Yes.
What is this just going to happen every day?
For a little while, it might. The upper cervical, the first vertebrae, and the second vertebrae, there's some strong emotional ties that those areas have for most of us. The first vertebrae represents our outlook on life. It's our ability to accurately and openly, without judgment, take in both the inner world and the inner experience and the inner existence and the outer world or experience or existence. And the second vertebrae has a very strong tie to our ability to make a decision and then go in that direction. And if our second vertebrae is twisted off to one side, many times it's very strongly correlated to either paying attention too much or making decisions too much based on an imbalance. Either we're making decisions based way much on what other people want and need and not enough about ourselves, or the exact opposite. So this ability to take in life and the ability to respond or make decisions based on it, that area is, those two vertebrae are directly over the nausea center. And for most of us, for the vast majority of us, those two areas are in conflict with each other. And the longer that they've been in conflict with each other, and then we release a lot of energy like we're doing right now, those areas are like, oh crap, what are we supposed to be doing? And they can bring about some uncomfortable sensations.
Nice.
Tad.
Yes.
Can I share something about what she just said from a energetic perspective?
So everybody, this is my mom, Kathy, and she is an acupuncturist and a mystic and a healer extraordinaire. So
Thank you, Tad.
What kind of wisdom do you have for us?
No, this is just added information to what you said from an energetic perspective. You were talking physiological, but the gastrointestinal tract, kind of like you said with the two vertebrae, it takes in things, it digests what we need, and it gets rid of what we don't need. And sometimes when we're nauseated, that's our body saying, I want to get rid of something. But it may be one of those things, that we really need to look at. Does that make sense? Like, from an energetic perspective, it would be like you're saying, we're taking things in from life. We're supposed to digest them, use them in a healthy way, and get rid of what we don't want. But if we don't look at it, sometimes it can make us feel sick.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
You're welcome. He's awesome, isn't he? I did good.
Yes.
Y'all clap.
You did a great job.
Yes.
All right. Anybody else?
Go on, Jordan. Sorry.
I am having a lot of, like, I guess nausea, like just a lot of physiological, like I kind of get a headache when we do this. Not so much today, but last night I had a lot of nausea. But mine doesn't really move so quickly. So I guess, like, how can I, not to just be moving away from the discomfort, but like,
What can you learn from this?
Yeah, or like, how can I further this? Or
So Jordan, whenever you're doing these exercises, how intense are you going?
probably pretty intense.
Yep. Jordan, you and knowing you a little bit, this is why I'm saying what I'm saying. Recognize that you do not need to push in life as hard as you have been. Not only is life changing, but you are becoming a lot more efficient, and you are starting to own the presence that you have. And whenever you can be fully present, then who you are starts to make the changes more so and kind of behind the scenes instead of what you do. So especially with these exercises right now, what I'm going to recommend for you is to put your focus on doing these exercises as easily, as effortlessly, and as relaxed as you possibly can. And just experiment, just play with what happens and what's different whenever you push as hard as you can compared to when you don't push at all.
Yeah, okay. Chill out a little bit.
No, not chill out, because this is going to be hard work for you. To let go is going to be a huge challenge. So definitely not a chill out, but it's much more a trust. It's much more a faith in who you are compared to what you do.
Okay.
So just experiment, and you can always come back and tell me I'm full of crap. You're welcome to do that anytime.
Well, I probably won't, but
we don't know.
You seem to play out pretty truthfully in my experience. Thank you.
Love when that happens.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Carlin said, can we have these sessions either earlier in the day or later? And I just wanted to address that, Carlin, that this one hasn't been on Facebook Live, but I am going to put it on the Facebook soon. So there will be a place where you can get all of these videos and watch them whenever you want. So even yesterday's is available on our Facebook page. And then today's I will work on getting uploaded too. So you can watch them and join in whenever you want in that regard. But I think we are going to have them at 11 every day, right, Tad?
Yep. But don't forget, Carlin, that you can always do and we recommend that you sign up for one of the online consultations. And then
yes,
we can
I have that in about an hour.
Perfect.
Thank you, Connie. But now you're going to have to show me how to use my Facebook.
Connie has a very high charge for that.
Yeah, you know, that's something that I apparently became tech support. So there we go. I just want everybody to know I'm not the best tech support, but I will do my best to help you out.
Connie is the best tech support.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for showing up today. Thank you for bringing your amazing presence. Thank you for bringing your curiosity. Don't forget to tune in, same time, same place, tomorrow, whenever you see the invitations to these things in your email. Please do not hesitate to share this with anybody that you think would benefit. Whenever you see it pop up on your Facebook feed, please share it on your page. Let's get all of this information out because we are all in this together. The more of us that are fueled and energized and moving forward and becoming healthier and stronger because of these circumstances, the more that helps the human population as a whole, the collective consciousness, make those same changes. So the more the merrier. Please share this, invite people, and we will see everybody tomorrow.
Thank you.